Hello， 大家好，今天我们继续来读一篇《经济学人》的文章。Do not expect America's interest rates to fall just yet. Just yet means right now， 和否定搭配表示这会儿还不，这会儿先别指望美国的利率会下降。The risk of a second wave of inflation remains too great. 第二轮通胀的风险依然很大。来看正文 Has inflation been vanquished, or is it bouncing back?Vanquish means to defeat someone or something completely. Bounce back means to become successful again after failing or having been defeated. 通胀问题是已经被完全解决了呢，还是正在反弹呢？ The question grips bond markets and governs the world's economic prospects. Grip means to have a powerful effect on somebody or something. Govern means to control or influence somebody or something. Prospect refers to the possibility that something will happen. 这一问题牵动着债券市场，也关系着世界经济的前景。At the turn of the year, after the Federal Reserve all but declared victory over America's excessive price rises, bond yields collapsed in expectation of several interest rate cuts. 这句话的主句是 bond yields collapsed， 债券收益率暴跌。前面是发生的时间，后面是发生的原因。Yield refers to the total amount of profits. Collapse means to decrease suddenly. The turn of the year refers to a period of time when one year is ending and the next one is beginning. All but means almost. Excessive means too much. 2024年初，就在美联储几乎要宣布他们已经成功控制住了物价过快上涨之后，债券的收益率暴跌，因为人们预期会有多次降息。Today, that bet looks premature. That refers to the prediction made by investors regarding the future direction of inflation and interest rates. 现在看来，这种预期似乎为时过早。Over the past 3 months, core consumer prices, which exclude food and energy, have risen at an annual rate of 4%, up from 2.6% in the 3 months to August. Exclude means to deliberately not include something. 在过去3个月，不包括食品和能源的核心消费者价格的年增长率，从去年6月至8月的 2.6% 上涨至 4%。Producer prices have risen more than expected, and consumers' expectations of inflation over the next year have gone up too. 生产者价格的涨幅超过预期，消费者对2025年通胀的预期也有所上升。Inflation is much lower than at its peak, but it has not yet been defeated. 这里为了简洁，中间省略了 it was. 通胀虽然已经远低于峰值，但是问题还未完全解决。As a result, Treasury yields are roughly back to where they were before the Fed's dovish turn. Yields on long-dated bonds are higher still. Roughly means about, approximately. Dove 是鸽子 dovish 表示鸽派的、温和派的，反义词是 hawkish 主战的、鹰派的。结果，美国国债的收益率大致回到了美联储转向鸽派之前的水平，长期证券的收益率甚至更高。Inflation is also proving stickier elsewhere. Stickier means more difficult to deal with or solve. 事实证明，其他地方的通胀更难解决。The Eurozone recorded large price rises in January. Swedish inflation rose in January, and the Reserve Bank of Australia recently warned that inflation will take time to become sustainably low and stable. 2024年1月，欧元区物价大涨，瑞士1月的通胀也上涨了。澳大利亚央行最近警告称，通胀要变得持续低稳，还需要时间。Everywhere, and especially in America, a resurgence of inflation threatens to delay cuts to interest rates. A resurgence of inflation means that inflation is increasing or coming back after a period of being low or stable. Threaten to. If something unpleasant threatens to happen, it seems likely to happen. 在每个地方，尤其是美国，通胀回升可能会让降息计划延后。To understand what is going on, look at the pattern of demand. 要理解现在的情况，就要看看需求模式。The COVID-19 pandemic led to lockdowns and generous handouts, which fueled the demand for goods and overwhelmed supply chains. Handout refers to food, clothing, or money that are given free to someone who is poor. Fuel means to increase. The verb overwhelm generally means to be too much to handle. In this context, overwhelmed means that the supply chains were overloaded and couldn't cope with the amount of products people wanted to buy. 整句话是说，新冠疫情造成了封锁以及政府慷慨的补贴，这促进了对商品的需求，并且让供应链不堪重负。In 2021, in America, the price of a washing machine rose by 12%. After Russia invaded Ukraine, energy and food prices soared. Soar means to increase quickly to a high level. 2021年，在美国，一台洗衣机的价格上涨了 12%。在俄罗斯入侵乌克兰之后，能源和食物的价格飙升。Today, by contrast, global goods prices are falling. Despite being buffeted by disruptions to shipping in the Red Sea, food and energy prices are moderate. By contrast, is used to show a difference. Here, it highlights how the situation has changed from before. Buffet as a verb. Buffet means to hit or push something repeatedly and forcefully. In this context, it refers to global goods prices being affected by problems in shipping in the Red Sea. Moderate. We can use moderate to describe something that is neither large nor small in amount or degree. 而如今，虽然红海的航运遭受干扰，全球商品价格却在下降，食品和能源的价格处于中等水平。The source of today's problem is rises in the price of global services. 如今问题的根源是全球服务价格的上涨。Inflation in services is tightly linked to local conditions. Tightly means closely. 服务业的通胀和当地情况密切相关。If haircuts are in short supply, you cannot import them. It is therefore no surprise that the cost of services is rising in America. 如果剪发服务供不应求的话，那是无法进口的，因此美国的服务价格上涨也就不足为奇了。Over the past 3 months, its booming jobs market has created an average of 289,000 jobs a month, more than double estimates of the sustainable rate. 在过去3个月，美国火热的就业市场平均每月创造了289000个岗位，比可持续增长率估值的2倍还要多。Wages are growing at an annual pace of more than 4.5%. GDP rose by an annualized 4.1% in the second half of 2023, and real-time indicators suggest that the expansion remains healthy. Real-time means happening now or very recently, without any delay. 工资的年增长率超过了 4.5%, GDP 以2023年下半年的 4.1% 的年率增长，并且实时指标表明这一增长仍然是健康的。Such is the economy's strength that even if there had been no inflation in the past 2 years, forecasters would be expecting it to break out. 这里用到了强调句型 such is that. Such is 后面加的是强调的内容，这里强调的是经济的力量。That 后面加的是该强调内容导致的结果。Breakout usually means to suddenly start or happen, especially used for something unwelcome like disease, war, or in this case, inflation. 经济的力量就是如此强大，即便在过去2年未发生通胀，预测人员也预测通胀即将爆发。Elsewhere, the situation is more finely balanced. Finely means in a very careful, delicate, or exact way. In this context, finely balanced suggests a situation that is careful balanced, where small changes could make a big difference. 在其他地方，情况处于更加微妙的平衡。In Europe, unemployment is low but growth less strong. Britain fell into recession at the end of 2023. 欧洲的失业率低，但是增长不够强劲。英国在2023年陷入了衰退。Business services in the Eurozone are gloomy. Gloomy means dark or depressing. 欧元区的商业调查结果令人沮丧。 Inflation fears are limited by sharply lower natural gas prices that will reduce inflation and raise the rate of sustainable, non-inflationary economic growth. Sharply means suddenly and by a large amount. Non-inflationary means not causing inflation. 天然气价格的暴跌减轻了人们对通胀的担忧，这将会降低通胀水平，并促进不会引发通胀的可持续的经济增速。The Chinese economy is in a funk and prices are falling. Be in a funk means being in a state of depression or decline. 中国经济处于低迷状态，物价正在下降。In Japan, interest rates are still below zero. It would be considered a victory if inflationary pressure stayed strong enough to let the central bank raise rates. 在日本，利率依然低于零。如果能够保持足够强劲的通胀压力，使得日本央行加息，那将被视为是一场胜利。If a disruptive second wave of inflation is likely to strike anywhere, it is in America. Disruptive means causing disorder and problems. Strike usually means to hit or attack. 如果说具有破坏性的第二波通胀可能会袭击某个地方，那便是美国。That means monetary policy is likely to diverge, with the Fed keeping rates high, even as the rest of the rich world custom to revive growth. Diverge means to separate and go in different directions. Revive means to bring back to life or activity. 这意味着货币政策可能会分化，美联储将利率保持在高位，而其他富裕国家则降息以重振经济增长。Such a pattern would boost the value of dollar, which is already climbing. 这样的模式会让已经在攀升的美元进一步升值。When America's money markets offer high returns for little risk, the many poorer countries struggling to borrow in dollars suffer most. Struggling to means having difficulty with. 当美国的货币市场以低风险提供高回报时，许多在美元借贷上有困难的较贫困国家就会遭受最大的影响。If interest rates do not fall, there could be nasty surprises on Wall Street too. Nasty means unpleasant or harmful. 如果利率不下降，华尔街也可能会出现令人不愉快的意外。The stock market appears to have barely noticed the danger that monetary policy will stay tight this year. Appears to can be replaced with seems to or looks like. Barely means hardly. 美国股市似乎还没有注意到今年的货币政策将继续保持紧缩的危险。By contrast, rising rate expectations in 2022 and 2023 often caused sell-offs, as investors adjusted the discounted value of future profits. Sell-offs. This term refers to a situation where investors quickly sell their shares or other securities, often in large quantities. The discounted value of future profits means the present worth of earnings expected to be generated in the future, adjusted for risk and time. 相比之下，在2022年和2023年，加息预期通常会导致抛售，因为投资者调整了未来利率的折现价值。Neither is there much sign that America's small and mid-sized banks have resolved the threats that high rates pose to their balance sheets. 这里用到了倒装，正常语序是 There is neither much sign. 为了突出 neither 这个否定词，便将它提前，后面用了倒装语序。Resolve means to find a solution to a problem or situation. Pose threats to means to create dangers or problems for something or someone. Balance sheets are reports that show a company's financial situation, including what it owns and owes. 也没有太多的迹象表明，美国的中小型银行已经解决了高利率对其资产负债表构成的威胁。The inflation problem is not what it was a year ago, but the world is not yet clear of the danger. Be clear of means to be free from or not affected by something. 通胀问题已经不同于1年前，但世界还未摆脱这一危险。好了，今天的阅读就到这里，我们下期再见，拜拜。